All right, let's talk about AssureIT, the Unified RMM Platform. We're going to dive right into how this actually works.
So, picture your modern enterprise IT environment for a second. It's this massive, sprawling web of devices and remote workstations, right? And it really begs the question, how on earth do you manage the unmanageable? Because when your footprint scales up, we're talking remote workers, branch offices spinning up out of nowhere. Relying on manual spreadsheets is honestly like flying blind. And in IT, those blind spots, well, that's exactly where your most expensive problems like to hide.
Because without centralized visibility, you inevitably end up dealing with what we call ghost assets. Like that one laptop an intern took home back in 2019 and was literally never seen again. Yeah, that kind of thing. But beyond that, you're looking at unpatched vulnerabilities just leaving the front door wide open. And of course, that dreaded alert fatigue. That's when your team is just so bombarded by tiny warnings that they completely miss the critical faults. And let's be real, that isn't just a minor headache, it's a massive escalating risk for the whole business. Now, for the system admin actually on the ground, dealing with this risk basically feels like drowning. It's just total alert overload. You've got these disjointed software tools that literally refuse to talk to each other, which totally forces you into this highly reactive workflow. You're basically just sitting there waiting for a user to call the help desk to report a system is down, instead of actually catching that failure before it ever happens. It's incredibly stressful and, frankly, wildly inefficient. But here's where things get interesting. Meet AssureIT. And look, this isn't just another software update. It's really a complete architectural shift in how you handle network operations. It's a unified remote monitoring and management solution that takes all that fragmented chaos and replaces it with a beautifully designed, highly functional command center. It's built from the ground up for total, proactive visibility. The whole philosophy driving this is the single pane of glass concept. So instead of juggling one tool for your asset management, another one for remote desktop, and then a third just for security, AssureIT just unifies the whole shebang into one seamless browser tab. You're getting true enterprise-grade control over every single device, but completely without that visual clutter. Now, for the technical folks tuning in, this next number is going to be absolutely huge for you, less than 50 megabytes. AssureIT actually uses this incredibly lightweight background agent on each Windows endpoint. It just sits silently in the background, causing literally zero drag on system performance, but it acts as this incredibly powerful intelligence gatherer. And that brings us to the sheer power under the hood here, 30 seconds. That lightweight agent we just talked about, it is continuously streaming live telemetry back to your dashboard every 30 seconds using a low-latency MQTT protocol. So you're not just looking at some stale snapshot from yesterday, you're watching the living, breathing pulse of your entire IT infrastructure. Let's break down exactly what that 30-second pulse actually gives you. It's basically live X-ray vision into every single device. You're seeing real-time CPU frequencies, storage health, even the laptop battery charge cycles. And then on the software side, you can instantly identify missing security patches, firewall states, and what antivirus is running. It's essentially building your hardware asset register automatically, which means you can finally say goodbye to those tedious manual inventory walks. Of course, having all that data is great, but turning it into action is what really matters, right? So here is how AssureIT's proactive workflow handles it. First up, you've got that continuous telemetry collection. Then, if a predefined threshold, say a massive CPU spike, is exceeded, the system immediately analyzes it. And third, it instantly escalates those critical alerts straight to email or SMS. It filters out all that background noise so you can jump in and fix a problem before the end user even realizes their computer was about to crash. So, okay, an alert triggers. How do you actually fix it? Well, AssureIT comes with a built-in enterprise-grade remote management suite that gives admins super robust real-time access. You can take full graphical control through remote desktop, execute commands instantly in a live shell using SSH, or securely transfer files with FTP. It is literally an entire troubleshooting toolkit baked right into your web console. Now, obviously, with that kind of power, security is absolutely crucial, and AssureIT teams make sure enterprise teams can operate with total peace of mind. Every single remote action and all that telemetry data, it's completely shielded by cutting-edge secure communication protocols. We're talking end-to-end encryption via HTTPS with TLS 1.2, and it even uses tailscale VPN tunnels to make sure your remote access is basically impenetrable from the outside. And to take compliance even a step further, there's a mandatory 60-second agent-side connection approval. What this means is when an admin tries to initiate a remote session, the end user actually has to explicitly consent to it within 60 seconds. It's a real game changer because it ensures absolute transparency, respects user privacy, and, maybe most importantly, keeps your operations totally bulletproof for those internal security audits. Zooming out a bit, the platform also gives you this really beautiful macro-level business view. You can instantly see your active devices compared to any vulnerable systems. But it also includes this highly specialized e-waste management tool. By tracking the exact processor types and disposal dates of end-of-life assets, it actually helps your organization drastically reduce its environmental footprint and maintain sustainability compliance. Pretty cool, right? So let's just look at the contrast for a second. On one side, you have the old way, reactive chaos, dangerous blind spots, and just a never-ending flood of escalating help desk tickets. And on the other side, the AssureIT way, proactive control, that deep 30-second X-ray visibility we talked about, and completely optimized IT operations. It's literally the difference between just guessing what's happening on your network and knowing exactly how it's performing right at this very second. Which really brings us to the core promise of the whole platform: AssureIT, proactive IT management simplified. Because by unifying your asset tracking, your live resource monitoring, and that secure remote access into one really elegant, low-impact solution, well, you aren't just buying another piece of software. You are fundamentally transforming your IT operations. You're reducing downtime, boosting your security posture, and finally giving your IT pros the tools they actually need to lead. And that right there is the true power of a unified RMM platform. Your IT infrastructure is finally fully visible and fully controlled. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with this one thought to chew on. Now that those blind spots are completely gone and your team is finally freed from all that reactive chaos of the past, how are you going to use that newfound clarity to transform your strategic IT growth? Something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.